Get me that signal. We need more power.
Benvenuti, my friends. I am so glad that you have come to our little town of Murano. We are but a small frazione of the commune of Venice, but we are even more beautiful. Please, climb aboard, and I will show you the many wonders of our little town. As you know, Murano is a series of 7 islands connected by bridges and separated by canals. Our architecture dates all the way back to the Romans, but what we are known throughout the world for is our glassmaking. Did you know that much of the artisan glass in the world has been produced right here in Murano for hundreds of years? It's true. Adventurine glass was invented right here in Murano, and the many glass techniques were discovered and perfected right here in our beautiful city. The smell, well, yes, unfortunately, the art of a glass making comes with the cost. Creating this beautiful art takes a toll on our environment. We're developing ways to make it cleaner and safer for everyone, but alas, today you still find that people do not like to live near the glass factories that produce such exquisite beauty. Merchants? Yes, there are merchants who come here from all over the world to purchase our wares. You can find buyers walking the streets and avenues at all times of the year, looking for just the right place for their shops back home. Originally, Venice sent all of the glass makers to Murano because they feared fires breaking out and burning down the city. But it has made Murano the producer of the finest glass in the whole world. Forgive me, but you appear to be a very wealthy individual. May I ask why you have come to our humble town? Investing? You wish to line your pockets with our money? No? I see. You wish to help our town to prosper by building new glass factories, shops, palaces, and other special buildings in order to make Murano even more beautiful. I must warn you, the competition here is tough. There are others who are attempting to do the same thing, and it is only by skillful planning, marketing, and one more secret that most do not know, that an investor like yourself can come out with a victory over these others. What is the secret? Well, I suppose that Antonio can tell you. Who is Antonio? Why, Antonio is me. I know the secret. Here is what you must do. You must enlist the help of the gondoliers. I do not lie to you, senor. We gondoliers are the ones who transport the wealthy merchants from island to island. We can carry them to your shops and your factories, or we can carry them to your competition's shops and factories. Only the gondoliers know of the most beautiful glass. Only we know how much money each merchant carries with him and what they are looking for. So you see, senor, the fate of the investor lies with us gondoliers. And only the most savvy investor will know how to use our vast knowledge and network to their advantage. Let me tell you how it all works. Here we have a game of Murano all set up and ready to go. Each player gets a set of pawns, which is their gondoliers, and little cubes in their player color, which represents, they put that on those shops to show that it's their shops. These, as I said, are your gondoliers, and you will use them to score your points at the end of the game. The object of the game is to score the most victory points, and in order to do that, you have to complete many actions on these little islands here. What you're going to be doing during the game is filling up the islands with, well, we have a stack of street tiles here, and they go on these little paved spots. And then we have different shops, like the palace, and a palace will get you 3 victory points on the victory point track. So if you put one down, and they go on the little shaded spots on the islands. So if you put one down, you get to move your guy, 3 victory points. Click, click, click. And then we have special buildings, and if you get to place a special building, you get to draw 3 cards from the special card pile, and then you pick one out of those 3 that you might like to use for in-game. Like, for example, the Basilica, you receive 5 victory points immediately. That's nice. A Tavern, you pay 2 gold less for each new character card. I'll mention those character cards in a second. The other type of tile that you have is you have shops. And these shops are in 3 colors, red, blue, or black. When you place a shop, it's got a little spot where you put your cube on it, showing that that is your shop, and it's a blue shop. So you can only sell blue goods to blue customers, and as you place these streets, they have different customer colors on them. Here's a black, here is one that's blank, here's a black and a blue. So if I used one of these action spaces on the edge of the board here to sell from a shop, I could use this shop to sell to all the blue customers on this island, so that would give me 1, 2, 3 gold. I could also use, if I had a red shop there, I could use that to sell to the red customers as well and get 2 extra gold. But you only get to do it for 1 island for each time you do the income action. The edge of the board here is all lined with different actions, and you have different little gondolas here that move around the table in a counterclockwise pattern. You decide which action that you want to use, and then you move the ship to the space that corresponds with that action. What you're going to be doing throughout the game is, the main thing in collecting your victory points is getting these character cards. And these character cards, they cost a certain amount of gold. There's several spaces on the board that enables you to pick up a character card. Here's one here. The first character card will cost you 1 gold, the second 2, the third 3, and so on. What you'll do is you'll pick 3 different cards, and then you choose one of those 3 as your card. For example, this one here. You receive victory points according to the combined number of customers on the island. So if there's this many customers on a specific island, then you get that many victory points at the end of the game during end game scoring. The other type of tile is the factory tile. And this is a glass factory tile, and it will also have one of your little squares on it to show that that's your factory. And you can use these factories to get some more money in the game. These produce glass. So for each factory that you choose to produce from, let's say you have 4 factories on the islands, and it doesn't have to be one island, it could be spread out anywhere, but you want to produce from all 4 of those factories. Each one you produce from costs you 2 victory points. That's why everybody starts over here at the 5 spot, so that they have a few victory points they can spend if they need to. And as the game goes on and you build these different shops, they grant you victory points as you play. Like the palaces give you 3, the shops will give you 2, and the glass factories will give you 1 victory point. So you move on up that way, and then there's a certain spot on here where you can use your glass factories to produce income for you. And there's only one spot. It's right over here on the side. So what you do is, for each one that produces from this little bag of glass, you will choose, let's say I picked 4 glass factories, so I picked 4 beads out of it. I got 2 blue and 2 green. I can cash in 1 set of these. So I can either choose to cash in the green now or the blue now. It's up to me. One gem is worth 5 gold, 2 gems are worth 12 gold, 3 gems are worth 20 gold. And if I wanted to be able to cash in the blue ones later, I'd have to run that same action again to produce income. But remember, each time you do it, it costs you 2 victory points per glass factory. And you want to get toward that main goal of having enough character cards at the end of the game that you can cash in with your gondoliers to earn you enough victory points to win the game. It takes you at least 1 game to understand really what you're doing, what you're attempting to accomplish here. The highlands will slowly fill up with the different buildings and all the different streets and different customers, and you'll be going to various combinations or trying to get various combinations. Like you want to have 2 customers on this island and 2 shops on that same island so that you can score this one particular card. But other people can mess you up as well. So you have to really develop some kind of strategy, go with it, and then hope that it's enough to win you the game in the end. And that's just a quick look at how you play Murano. I forgot to mention, the game is over when there are 2 stacks of those tiles completely empty. Whether it be the streets, the factories, the palaces, or the shops, once 2 are empty, it triggers the final round. Now, the streets are in 2 separate stacks, but they only count as 1. Remember that, it is important. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about Murano and what I think. Murano is one of those games, at least for me, that you need to play once or twice before you really know what is going on. Don't get me wrong, the rules are straightforward and not that difficult to learn, but even after I learned how to play, I didn't know what I was doing. It's a Euro game, so it's got a lot of symbology on the board. It's basically a city builder / worker placement type game. The mechanic where you have to move the gondolas to choose your action is pretty cool. I like how you can overcome it, but it will cost you money to do it. And don't try to fool yourself, in this game, cash is the king. Yes. Almost every action on the board requires you to have some cash. So if you don't have any, things aren't looking too good for you. It's a big balancing act as you juggle your cash with buying character cards, shops, glass factories, and then getting your gondoliers into position. This would be difficult enough as it is, but you've got other players out there with their own agendas, and they can, without a doubt, cause problems for you. The biggest thing to watch out for is the buying up your gondolier space on an island maneuver. It costs them 5 golds, but they can really mess up the plan that you've been putting together for half the game. And that's not the only way players can cause each other grief. If you keep your eyes open, you can figure out a bit of the other player's strategies and use that knowledge to place a building where they don't want it, or fill up the streets with the wrong customers, and a lot of other little things that you'll learn how to do once you get to know all of the different types of character cards there are in the game. But initially, you'll just be trying to figure out what the heck you need to do in order to convert the least amount of cash into the most amount of victory points. The glass producing business can be very lucrative, but it costs you victory points. Just like everything else in the game, it's a trade-off. Sometimes it's worth it to pay the extra 2 gold in order to pick the shop that you want, or even the palace that you want if you're looking to get an exact number of crests for a specific character card. This is really a good game. I'm not going to be bringing it out for a dinner party with people who don't game much, simply because they'll be scratching their heads and saying, I don't know what I'm doing. No, this is a game to pull out with your friends who don't mind playing a game a couple of times to get the hang of it and really enjoy it. By game 2, you'll all start experimenting with different strategies to maximize points. Is one strategy better than another? I'm not sure yet. I'm still learning, but I can tell you this. If you skip a turn in order to collect your 1 gold, then you've wasted a turn. Keep your pocketbook happy, and the victory points will follow. It's not a heavy Euro by any means. As I said, the rules are light and easy to learn. The how is easy. It's the why that takes you some time to figure out. The components are well done, the board is nice to look at, the gondolas are cool, and there's no dice. The main source of randomness in the game comes from the customers on the street tiles that are chosen and the character cards that you draw, which will help to determine your strategy for your game of Murano. Overall, this is a very likable game that keeps pulling you back for more. Sure, I might have preferred an outer space theme, but I have to admit that the theme did blend in nicely with the mechanics of Murano and form one well put together game. Thank you for joining us in this review of Murano from Mayfair Games. Let me know if you found this review helpful by leaving a comment or sending me an email at elliott_miller@voiceofe.com. Make sure you subscribe to the Voice of E channel on YouTube, as I'll have a lot more thematic game reviews and board game giveaways, and you won't want to miss any of them. Please tell your friends to check out the Voice of E, and hopefully they will subscribe too. Thanks again. And until next time, keep your mind free.
Get me that circuit. We need more power.